Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available summer 2025, the album. Dad, shimmy, shimmy, AF. This will be an everlasting love. Rock on gold dust, woman. Boost! Peekaboo. Oh, I already did that. Peekaboo. How have you guys been? Oh my God, I missed you so much. I took a couple days off from filming over here and I got so many DMs and people were like, Peter, I need a drama video. And please, this is what I got so many DMs that said this exact thing. Okay, Peter, I need a drama video so bad. I miss your drama videos, but please do not cover Dramageddon because everybody is going back and covering Dramageddon right now. I am living for those videos, you guys. I am living for the return to people going back and looking at Dramageddon now in hindsight. I love those videos. So I was thinking about maybe doing one of those videos, but I guess not. I guess people don't want that from Peter. I don't know what people want from Peter, okay? People might want me to talk about Go Ask Alice. Oh, I already did that. I did that a couple days ago. Didn't nobody care about that video. But I do have to tell you that I just bought, somebody sent this to me. I just bought this on Audible. This book, hold on a second. What is it called? It's called Unmask Alice. So for those of you that are interested in Go Ask Alice, it's called Unmask Alice, LSD, Satanic Panic, and the Imposter Behind, that's Beatrice Sparks if you watch my video, and the Imposter Behind the World's Most Notorious Diaries. And it is by Rick Emerson, and it came out in April of 2022. And I cannot wait to listen to it and find out all the drama behind the scenes with Dear Go Ask Alice. Now, I have to tell you what's so funny. So I did that video, and in the article that I read, it said, it's so interesting the questions that I get. People, like, so many people have DM'd me and said, did you, because I went and I bought Go Ask Alice, and I had a copy here, but I couldn't find it, and then as soon as I got home, I found it. And so I bought a copy of it, because I was like, I think I want to read Go Ask Alice again. Don't bother, it's really bad. Okay? I don't know what I thought was so good about this book back in the day, but it is so bad. And so, people, like, this is the DM I get from people. I loved your video on Go Ask Alice. Thank you, I appreciate it, to the 2,000 people that watched it. And then people are like, okay, does it say in the title page fiction? Because that's what it said in the article. It said this is like based on fiction, this is fiction based on true events or something. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say in the title page, not in the ones that I have, it doesn't say that it's fiction. It swears all over that thing that it's a diary, okay? That it is a found diary. But anyway, I had so much fun making that video, and I love doing those kinds of things. People have asked me when I'm making my Tawny Katane video. Listen, she's coming, okay? I loved Tawny Katane. I'm gonna make the Tawny Katane video. I have a Paris is Burning video that I wanted to do. I had a whole Pride Month video. Now Pride Month's almost over. But, you know, Pride's all year long. So I got this Pride video that I wanted to do because I watched that show Fellow Travelers back in, like, March when we were in Miami for Ultra. And so I got a bunch of videos over here, not just drama, but today we are going to talk about the drama. Oh, my Lord, the drama, James Charles. James Charles and the Grindr scandal. I don't know what I'm gonna title this video. I have two titles. These are the titles for my video. James Charles begs for people to hit him up on Grindr, or James Charles and the Grindr scandal. I like the second one. It kind of sounds like a true crime novel, doesn't it? I mean, it kind of is, you know, anything you're talking about with James Charles. So, that's what I talk about. But I just want to say thank you so much to all of you out there that reached out to me and said, Peter, I miss you. You haven't filmed a drama video for a couple days. And that means a lot to me. It really, really does, you know. I say this a lot, like when I do cameos, I always say it, and I try to say it on, you know, all my channels, but I get to get up every single day and do something that I love and interact with you guys. And, you know, the reality is that whatever I'm talking about, whether it's Go Ask Alice or James Charles or whatever over here, is really just the medium for me to get to interact with you guys. And I get so many messages from people and so many DMs and emails of what you're going through and that my videos, like, made you think deeper about something or made you laugh and got you out of that for a moment. And that is nothing I ever expected when I got on YouTube 8 years ago, you know? It's just nothing that I ever expected, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. But for those of you that missed me while I was gone, I do have 6 other channels, okay? And on my vlog channel, I have posted every day for the last 2 months, and what is today, the 17th? The last 2 months and 17 days. Today's my cousin Caroline's wedding anniversary. She's in Michigan on a girls' trip. I texted her and I said, Caroline, happy anniversary, ... without your husband. She put LOL and sent me a picture of her sitting by the lake. But she's having a good time. They're going to do something when they come back. But anyway, so yeah, so I have vlogged every day for the last 2 months and 17 days. And my vlogs are typically 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. And it's just me sitting on my front porch talking, telling you guys what I did the last 24 hours. People say it's kind of like a podcast. They put it on, they like clean the house, do their makeup, you know, do chores around the house, stuff like that. And so, and all the people that watch it, I am so incredibly grateful for you guys. But I also try to post like on my Peter Does Stuff channel pretty regularly. I've been posting more on my Peter Likes Books channel. My Peterisms channel, I post pretty regularly. You know, talk about things I've learned in my life. My review channel, I have slowed down a little bit, but I just bought a bunch of things to review, so I'll be reviewing things over there this week. My Peter Watches TV channel, okay, so if you don't know, I switched it from all reality TV to all TV. And I think I'm also going to cover some movies over there. And so I said I wasn't going to, but I think I'm just going to put Peter Watches over. I'm not going to change the channel name. It's still going to be Peter Watches TV. We can't change it again. Okay, we cannot change it again, and I'm not starting another channel. Yet. I'm not starting another channel yet. Boo Radley, he is like begging. First of all, I just want to say, okay, I did this video on my Peter Does Stuff channel the other day, and I also talked about it on my vlog because so I have a movie club over on my Peter Does Stuff channel. Every Friday I announce a movie that, like, it was a movie that impacted me or really meant something to me in my you know, growing up years up till, I guess, last year. They're movies that up until last year. But most of them are from, like, my teen years, my childhood, my 20s, and things like that. And so for the month of June, because my birthday is on the 29th, my husband will be 40 years old on Friday. Oh my God, I can't believe it. He's over the hill. But anyway, so for the month of June, I'm trying to pick movies that like really mean a lot to me. Like the first week, it was Trip to Bountiful with Geraldine Page. This week, it was To Kill a Mockingbird. And so I was talking about it. To Kill a Mockingbird is my favorite movie of life and my favorite book of life as well. And it has a lot of meaning with me and my mom and things like that. And I've learned so much about the world through that book. And so the other night, I sat down and I watched it for the 900th time. And then I followed it up with watching a documentary about Harper Lee called Hey Boo. And they're both on Tubi. Every movie that I pick is on Tubi because it's a free streaming service. So anyway, but I was talking about my vlog and in that Peter Does Stuff video about that's why I named Boo Radley Boo Radley. And people were like, I always wondered why you named him Boo Radley, where you came up with that name. And they thought, everybody's like, I thought it was the cutest name, but I didn't know. I'm like, did y'all not go to 6th grade? Did y'all not read To Kill a Mockingbird in 6th grade? That was like required reading. But now they're trying to, you know, take it off the shelves and things like that. Imagine that. So anyway, so yeah, so I film on like many of my other channels. Some days, like, I'll just do like a vlog and a Peter Does Stuff video. Some days I'll do like a vlog and a Peterisms video. Some days I'll post 4 to 5 videos. But if you're missing me over here, go over to my vlog channel, one of those others. Just go over there, girl. Just go over there and you'll find me. There I'll be over there. So anyway, yeah, I had a good weekend this weekend. We went out to dinner with some friends, my husband's friends and some couples for his birthday dinner on Saturday night and just hung out here the rest of the weekend. Had a great brunch yesterday. Went to the pool a couple times this weekend. I've been walking again, listening to audiobooks. I'm currently listening to, I also have a book club. I have 2 book clubs. They're both on my Peter Likes Books channel if you want to be part of a book club. And they're also linked, well, the true crime book is linked below. So I have a true crime book club with my good Judy Mel. Hey, Mel, how are you? And then I have Peter's book club, which is where I just pick like a mystery or a thriller or a cozy mystery every month. This month's book is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, and I'm reading the first one while I'm walking. I'm walking like an hour, hour and a half every night, and I'm loving it. Oh my God, I'm loving that book so much. So anyway, the last book that I just finished was called How to Solve Your Own Murder. So yeah, did that, and yeah, we've just been hanging out. It was such a nice weekend. It was like the perfect weekend. So took a couple days off from filming over here, but now I'm back. I'm back. I've been putting a bunch of stuff up on my Instagram, like I did, because I'm gonna, you know, like I got some videos I want to film, and so I wanted to ask you guys what you wanted, and so I put up something like, who do you guys, who's, like, just say somebody's name and I'll tell you my opinion about them, right? Oh my God, I thought I'd get like 10 responses to that. I mean, I got like 500 or 600 responses to that. So that video is coming later this week. I have more secrets to spill. So yeah, it's gonna be a good summer. It's a summer of drama. So I saw this thing on Twitter. Y'all, I'm so over the Twitter, okay? I am so over the Twitter. Did you see that they took away that you can't see who people like and things like that? I bet James Charles is so happy about that, okay? Speaking of James Charles, I bet he is so happy that they took that away, that you can't see, like, who's likes, what they like and things like that. But anyway, they took that away. They took this away. They took that. I'm so over it. If you follow me on Twitter, you know, somebody, like, tweeted me and they said, or they commented and they said something like, Peter, I love you, but I don't need any more countdowns to Halloween, because every day all I do is just reshare the countdown to Halloween on my Twitter. I hate Twitter. I think Twitter is toxic, and I get on there, and it's like, if I'm in a good mood, I leave Twitter, and I'm like, damn, everybody's bitching and complaining on the Twitter. Like, life is not that bad, okay? Like, come on, there's some horrible shit, but listen, okay? Not every post you have to post every 20 minutes about how shitty your life is, you know? Step outside, find some gratitude in this world. So Twitter just makes me sad. And, you know, on the Instagram, I follow all senior dog rescues, these, like, artists that I love. And so I go over to Instagram. Instagram just makes me happy, okay? It just makes me so happy. And y'all know I love Thumbelina the squirrel so much. She's been going through it. She's been having some medical stuff. She's had this abscess in her mouth. And she just keeps on going, you know? And her mom and dad take such good care of her. And that's the kind of stuff that inspires me. So, not James Charles. But we're going to talk about James Charles today, okay? This is where I say one thing in a video, and then, like, people, like, they, like, get so upset about it. They're like, James Charles doesn't inspire you? No, she don't. I'm sorry, she don't. Artistry, don't see it. She don't inspire me, not whatsoever. In fact, I don't even understand. It's so crazy to me, because we're going to talk about this TikTok that he put out, right? It's so crazy to me, because when I was reading the comments on the TikTok that he put up, it's like, everybody's like, yes, slay, James. Yes, James, I love you, James. And I'm like, this is so, like, I've talked enough about this in videos, and I'm not going to, like, beat a dead horse, but it's so bizarre to me, you know, with all these things, these documentaries that are coming out, you know, and the Kevin Spacey documentary, and I always pronounce it, everybody gets so upset when I pronounce the title, I always call it On the Set. I guess it's Quiet on the Set. I haven't watched it yet, but all these different things are coming out, right? And, like, James Charles got in a full video and apologized to a 14 and a 16-year-old, referred to them as his victims, okay? He's had multiple allegations of trying to coerce straight men, and, like, people don't have an issue with this. It is baffling to me. I mean, it is probably one of the biggest mysteries online. And the thing is that, like, people a lot of times will say to me, like, why do you think it'll happen again? I think it'll happen again because I don't think that James Charles has learned anything. And I'm a big believer that lessons are repeated until they are learned. I don't think that James Charles has learned anything. And if he's learned anything from this whole situation, what he's learned is that he got away with it, okay? He didn't suffer any consequences. He wasn't forced to learn anything from this, right? He wasn't like, you know, I mean, he didn't even lose his monetization off of his YouTube channel anywhere near the amount of time as, like, Shane Dawson did or other people, right? So to me, it's like he really got, like, not even a slap on the hand. And then he's got all these people around him supporting him, lifting him up, and all these people are like, oh, I guess, well, it's not that really that big of a deal, and they say all this kind of stuff about it. I'm like, okay, well, the next time it happens, will it be a big deal? Because this TikTok was interesting to me. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, this is like, the person that reshared it on Twitter that I saw was like, this is kind of a weird vibe from James. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, I feel like there's something afoot with James. And the foot is in his mouth, okay? Foot and ass. But anyway, so I was like, something is afoot. I don't think I've ever used that word in a video before. Something is afoot with James, okay? Because this is the thing about James, is that even though he gets, like, caught and all this kind of shit, like, he kind of, like, he does think a couple steps ahead. Like, I'll never forget seeing that video that he did with Miss Toddy. Y'all, this tripod fell so early in this video. I'm like, what is going on? James Charles has put a voodoo doll out there on me, and he is poking sticks in this trucker hat wearing voodoo doll. Anyway, I always remember that video that James Charles did with Miss Toddy, where he was, like, breaking down why it's, like, cheaper for companies to work with influencers instead of doing, like, paid advertisements, because they don't have to, they can just hire the influencer, they don't have to hire hair and makeup and location and all this kind of stuff, right? And I remember watching that video and I thought, this is really smart, like, he's right about this, right? But what he's also doing is he's also telling people out there, you should pick me, because I'm going to give you everything you want, because I've thought this through. Like, that's how James is. Like, James knows, like, business-wise, how to think things through. It's when it comes to his own personal life that he's not very smart with it. Or he thinks that he's going to get away with it because he's gotten away with it so many times. When I look back at covering drama on YouTube, and I think back about the different people that I've covered, James Charles is literally probably in the top 2 of the people that have had the most scandals since they've started their career. You know, I mean, I was kind of at the beginning when I was covering drama. I was at the beginning of James Charles' career, right? And the uprise of James Charles and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he had so many scandals through the years, and he's gotten away with literally every single one of them. And it's because so many people excuse it, so many people minimize it and whatever. So the one lesson that James Charles has learned is that he can get away with this stuff, right? That he's never going to suffer any consequences for it, that he can get away with it, right? And so with that kind of mentality, that kind of entitlement, something else is probably going to happen. I don't know what that's going to be or what that's going to look like, but I have to believe that if you're entitled and you think that nothing's going to happen to you, you're going to continue to act in the same way, because why would you not, right? Especially if you have all these troublesome behaviors and things like that. You're going to do something. Plus, the other thing I've noticed about James in like the last 3 to 6 months is he has this very careless attitude online. He's really kind of reached a point which I would have to believe to James kind of is like, I don't give a F attitude anymore. But it doesn't come across that way to somebody that's looking at it with a critical eye. To somebody with a critical eye, what it really looks like is, because James Charles was very careful, you know, after all the allegations came out, he took some time off, he went to Camp Coachella with his girlfriends, and he hung out there, didn't go to therapy, didn't work on himself, came back and let us all know that what he realized was that he was desperate, okay? That's what he realized in those 6 months. That 6 months was really just like, let me go away because let me sit in time out, and then everybody will be like, oh, he took 6 months off, and then maybe new drama will happen. That's old school. What you do is like a beauty influencer that got in trouble, right? You take some time offline, then people think that you're sitting at home crying your eyes out, when he came back and told us that he had gone to all these different places with his friends and was shopping and whatever, right? Like, he wasn't sitting at home really reflecting on the mistakes that he had made. He was really just hanging out. He never went to therapy, didn't say anything about that. He's never said really anything about that. He kind of hinted at it in that Cosmopolitan article, but other than that, you know, he's never really said any work he's done on realizing that it's problematic to be coercive towards straight men or to, you know, like hit on minors and whatever. So, you know, for me, it's like the mix of entitlement, power, and all that kind of stuff together is like, he thinks he's untouchable. He thinks he can get away with all this stuff, right? So I believe that down the road, we're going to see another scandal of James Charles. The thing is this, is that he's been very careful in trying to cover it up. This TikTok was interesting to me because I watched it, and the more I thought about it, I thought, is something going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of? Like, this to me was kind of a weird vibe for James. Like, he's done other things like this, but then when you look back, you find that it, like, he put something out because it was like, let me beat it to the punch. James is a smart enough, like, he's smart enough business-minded. I mean, he used a ring light to get famous. Let's just be for real, right? So he's smart enough to think these things through. Not with his personal life, with his business life, that he always kind of thinks 3 steps ahead, right? And so, like, if something is going to happen, he's going to put something else out first, right? So this TikTok comes out, and people are just like, this is such a weird vibe coming from James and blah, 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 whatever. Now, I'm not going to put the TikTok in here, because whenever I do, YouTube doesn't like that. But I'm going to play a part of the TikTok for you, and we'll just listen to it, okay? And I'll show a little bit of it to you. Where is it at? Here it is. Okay, so it's 59 seconds long. Here it is.
Against people posting private conversations from dating apps online.
So what he says is, he says he's very much against people posting dating apps of people online, the messages.
Very much against people posting private conversations from dating apps online. It is a violation of privacy. I think you're a fucking loser if you do that. It's happened to me so many times that I would never wish it upon anybody. However, the message that I just received is crazy not to say. This is a man that I've hooked up with once before, had a great time.
Okay, so he goes on and he shows this thing. When he talks about that, he feels like if somebody shares posts like private messages on, you know, Grindr or social media apps, things like that, if you share those online, then you're a fucking loser. Then he turns around and he does it, right? So, I mean, I've always said I was the world's biggest hypocrite on this channel, but he's literally the world's biggest hypocrite. I mean, he says it and 2 seconds later he shows the message, right? Because he thinks it's so funny. So he also goes in to say that he's hooked up with this man several times. Now, I thought that was an interesting choice of words. This is where when I went back and looked at it, I was like, This is kind of interesting to me because when I started it, like I said, my first title was James Charles begs for people to hit him up on Grindr. The more I thought about it, I thought, has somebody like had messages with James Charles behind the scenes, and they've like threatened to expose these, and so he's coming out with this because then he can say, I just shared one the other day. This is what people do. They make up this stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. I feel like this is him kind of like trying to beat somebody to the punch. It's very interesting to me that he said, I hooked up with this man before. And he says man. He specifically says man, right? Which I think is interesting to me that he uses that word. It doesn't say guy, hooked up with this guy before. He says this man before, right? And so what it is basically is that he's in LA and this guy is back in LA. And so he hits up this guy to see if he like wants to hook up. And the guy says to him basically, yeah, well, I'll read him to you in just a second. But he says something to the effect of, sure, I'll think about it, but I'm not really into masculine. I'm more into more femme guys now, okay? And then James acts like he's real offended. He turns it into a joke, right? He's real offended that this guy is like, he makes a huge joke about it, that he's like, you know, so masculine. James Charles is so masculine that this guy now wants something more feminine than James Charles. Okay, I'm not buying this story, okay? First of all, you can fake messages on Grindr, on any social media app, okay? You can fake it. I do not believe this is a real message. I'm just going to tell you that right now, okay? I think this whole thing is contrived, either for views on TikTok, and it's just as simple as that, because he wants to put out a different persona, or he wants people to talk about him, or whatever. He makes a whole joke about it. The whole comment section is, like, all flooded with people saying things like, instead of saying, hey, sisters, you're going to have to say, hey, brothers, and stuff like that, and blah, 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 whatever, right? He's got all these people speculating that, oh, James Charles is, like, so masked now, and laughing about it, and does this guy not know who you are, and blah, 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 whatever, okay? So I'm watching this whole thing go down, and the investigator that I am, and so here you can see on the screen right here, okay, I've got it screenshot, that James Charles says at 10:11, okay, p.m., want to hang out then. Then it goes to the next day, okay? So he's literally, like, screenshot this, so he knows either he made it that day or he screenshot it because he knows he's going to make the TikTok, okay? That's what's speculative about this to me, right? Is that it's screenshot, but it says today, okay? It doesn't say, like, 3 days ago. It's not like he was sitting around and he's like, I should make a TikTok about that. It's like he thought about it right that moment. Or it's a fake one and it came up with today. Or he made a fake account because, you know, maybe James Charles has fake accounts. He's said that in the past that he has. So James Charles is messaging himself from a fake account, right? And he's making up this whole conversation so he can get the story out that this guy doesn't want to sleep with him because he thinks he's too masculine, okay? And then this is like this whole funny thing. He's like, calls him sir, and all. He's like, sir, do you not know me? And things like that, okay? So it turns into this whole thing for views. I'm not buying this, okay? But what's interesting about this is, if it is true, okay, is that James Charles hits him up at 10:11 p.m. the previous night and says, want to hang out then? And the guy doesn't respond until the next day at 7:52 p.m., almost 24 hours later, and says, I could be convinced. Okay, James, now listen, okay? You think you're the cat's meow, all right? First of all, I just want to say, I have never been, if you ever see my picture on a dating app, on Grindr, SugarDaddy.com, Christian Mingle, Find a Farmer, all them things. I've never been on a dating app in my entire life, period, end of story, okay? Somebody is over on the TikTok posting pictures of my nephew and my dog and trying to act like they're their own, okay? And TikTok won't do anything about it. Twitter won't do anything about it. Instagram won't do anything about the 9 million accounts that are fakes of me either, okay? So just, it has to be. And what people are like, well, why do you really care? So I go over and I look at this guy's TikToks, and if you go over there and look at him, over there, it's every single one of them. Underneath there, there's all these women that are like, you are so good looking, hit me up, send me a message in my DMs, and I'm like, they don't even know that this guy is, it's not even probably a guy, okay? It's probably some lady sitting in Oklahoma City, all right? And she's probably just sitting there trying to get money out of these people, because that's what they always do. They DM them and then they ask them for money, right? So is it a stretch for me that James Charles is like got a fake account message and a fake account? No. Okay. But there's a lot of people on Grindr. I think we know that, okay? I think we know everybody's talking about the Grindr these days, okay? And all the other gay apps, and all the other straight apps, okay? And all that kind of stuff. And so, what's interesting to me is that James Charles asked him the night before, this is where I feel like it's contrived and it's fake, right? Want to hang out then? And the guy don't respond for 24 hours, okay? Now, like I said, I've never been on no dating app, okay? But if I was standing in a bar and I was talking to some guy back in the day, okay, when I was James's age, and I was hitting on somebody and somebody thought I was cute and all that kind of stuff, and I said, you want to go home? You want to hook up? And things like that. And he goes, I could be convinced. I'd be like, what do you need to be convinced? Okay, right here, right? That's what I would have said back in the day. And if I didn't get him in 5 minutes, I would have been out the door. I wouldn't wait no 24 hours for nobody. Maybe for a boyfriend, okay? Give him my number, let him call me, take me on a date, or I'll take them on a date, but not for a hookup. Girl, 24 hours? Yes, you are right about one thing. You are desperate, okay? James Charles, okay, acts like all these people are constantly hitting him up in DMs, but he messages somebody on Grindr, and he got to wait 24 hours, girl, for them to respond to him. Then the guy responds and says, I could be convinced. He doesn't say, yeah, come over. Yeah, I'm so excited, okay? So, James, what you said to us was that you are a bad lay, first of all, because you already said you hooked up with this guy once, okay? This guy has been for 24 hours looking for anybody else on Grindr and anybody else in the Los Angeles area, okay, to hook up with other than you. Only when he couldn't find anybody else did he finally decide, maybe I'll hit this guy back up again, okay? Because he's desperate too. You're two desperate souls out there, right? So this guy hits him back up and he says, I could be convinced. Now that's after 24 hours, all right? Girl, I'm starting to like, this is so sadly to me. This is like a sad Hallmark romance, except for they don't have no gay people over on Hallmark, so it wouldn't be that, okay? Or I think they do now, maybe in a Christmas movie or two or something like that. So anyway, okay, but this is sad to me, girl. This is sad. You waited 24 hours for this guy to respond to you, and then James Charles responds to him and says, LMAO, what the fuck, okay? I can tell you right now, I would not be responding to that person again if they said that to me. And then this guy says something else, and he says something about him being like, he's more into, more feminine guys now, and James says something, my God, LMFAO, I've never heard that before, okay? And he puts all these emojis, and then that's as much as he shows us, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this story, okay? First of all, you already hooked up with James Charles, okay? So are you telling us that James Charles is like super, I mean, James, you put this out there, okay? You put this out there for us to speculate, okay? It's like when Jeffree Star wants to get in videos and talk about how he can teach the whole world how to give head, okay? Girl, if you could teach the whole world how to give head, you'd have a man and you'd know how to keep him, okay? That's all I'm going to say right now, okay? Because that's the one rule you know how to do, okay? If you know how to give heads, you know how to keep a man, okay? I'm telling you that right now. This, to me, is desperation, okay? So what you've already said is you're trying to tell us that you ain't a good lay, okay? Because this man has got to be convinced, okay, to hook up with you again, all right? I have never had that problem before, okay? I'm 52 years old. I've been married for 16 years and long before that, okay? I never had a problem having nobody come back for seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, ninths, and tenths, okay? But James Charles, I guess you got to convince somebody. Yes, you are right. You are desperate, girl, okay? Stinky. That's all I got to say, okay? He didn't want to be honest with you, girl. That's why he said that to you. He didn't want to be honest, okay? This was him letting you down the nice way, okay? So I go in here and I'm like looking at all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, this whole thing is so weird to me. Like, he hit him up the night before, right? But this guy didn't respond till the next day, which is like totally desperate, okay? And this is where you can tell that he has learned nothing, okay, about what has happened in the past. Because if he had taken any accountability, truly, okay, or took any validity to these accusations, if he really thought that in any way they could damage them. Now let's remember, okay, the allegations of James Charles was that he was hitting up people in DMs, okay, having sexual conversations with them, okay, and that he was doing all this kind of stuff. Now, he came out in a video, the Holding Myself Accountable video, and he took full responsibility for that. He said, you know, I need to apologize to my victims. The victims were 14 and 16 years old, okay? And then he came and he took that video down because he was afraid that he was going to be pressed charges, all right? That legally, he was afraid, that's what it seems like, at least, okay? That charges could be pressed for what he admitted to in the video, okay? So he took that down, right? So then there's always been this conversation of James Charles in DMs, okay? James Charles here in DMs, James Charles there in DMs, right? He's also, his excuse has always been, do you know what it's like to be 25 and gay? You can't meet anybody. Well, okay, James, now that story goes out the window because you've just shared right here that you've hooked up with this guy before. In fact, you made it seem like you hook up with a lot of people, okay? So if you're not having a hard time finding people to hook up with on Grindr, there's no reason why you should ever be in anybody's DMs on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or anywhere else, girl, okay? Because you're proving right now in this video that you've hooked up with this guy before, you've hooked up with other people. This shouldn't be a problem for you. There should be no reason why you need to play doorman to people's IDs in DMs on Instagram, okay? And yet, a year ago, you came out in the Cosmopolitan article and said you still have to play doorman and ask for IDs on your Instagram. Why are you doing that, girl? Why are you not just, you know, like hooking up with people on Grindr and asking them for their IDs over there? You know, I got no problem with anybody being on hookup apps, dating apps, half my girlfriends are all on them dating apps, okay? They're all on that, what is it, the Bumble or the Plenty of Fish. I'm like, why don't you pay you some good money? I mean, I have known people that have been on the Match.com and the eHarmony, all that kind of stuff, and paid the good money for the upgrade. I'm like, why don't you, I've even offered to my girlfriends, I said, I will help and make your profile, okay? And then I will also pay the money for 6 months for you to be on here so you can find a good man, okay? Because they all swipe right, swipe left on these Plenty of Fish and Tinder and all this kind of stuff. And they meet these losers, you know? And they find out 3-4 weeks later, after they've spent, you know, all these nights with these guys, and they're like, oh, the guy will never, we can't go to his house because he's finishing his basement, he's having construction on his basement. Then she finds out like 3 weeks later that he's married, he's got 14 kids, and he's been divorced 3 times. And I'm like, girl, this is why you need to pay the better money for the higher quality things, right? Not to mention, all these celebrities are on that one dating app called Raya or whatever, okay? Why are you not on that, James Charles? Oh, you're on Grindr. And this is like, you've been caught on Grindr multiple times, okay? Like when you were in the UK, you were caught in Grindr. When you were in New York, you were caught in Grindr. People put that out there. I ain't got no issues with James Charles being on Grindr. In fact, I'm more thankful that he's on Grindr than he is on TikTok dipping into 14-year-olds' DMs, okay? But then it begs you to question, if he's on Grindr and he has no problem hooking up with men, like he refers to this guy on Grindr, why are you in a Cosmopolitan article from last year saying you still have to play doorman to people that are hitting you up on Instagram? Girl, what are you doing with your time, okay? Are you spending all your time trying to hook up? Like, that's what it seems like to me, that you're constantly looking for love in all the wrong places, okay? But now you've come out now in this TikTok, and you've come out in other places and said you've hooked up with this person, you've hooked up with that person, something about your last boyfriend or something like that. Girl, who, okay? Come out and say all this kind of stuff. So there should be no reason for you to ever be, okay, in DMs talking to nobody on these social media sites. You're the one that said social media sites aren't dating apps anyway, and you have proven that you fully understand how to use a dating app like Grindr. So there should be no reason, there should never again ever come out anything that James Charles has dipped in or is talking to somebody in DMs that's inappropriate, okay? Because you have proven to us that you know how to use a dating app and that you've dated men on dating apps, okay? Not boys, but men on dating apps, okay? So this should not be a problem for you in the future, all right? But the problem is that he deleted this video because he was afraid probably of getting legal consequences, or he didn't want it up there for years, but it's been uploaded so people can still see it on YouTube, okay? The only reason why anybody would post a TikTok, okay, of a conversation that they had, a private conversation, and in the beginning of it say that he thinks anybody that posts private conversations is a fucking loser, and then turn around and do it. The only reason that somebody would do that, okay, when that person has had that much attention brought to them, okay, over DMs that they have had on social media and dating apps, okay? From straight men that they've tried to coerce, to saying being my boyfriend is a lucrative job, to hitting up minors, to hitting up, you know, all these men and saying they're bi-curious, on and on and on. The only reason that that person, okay, would bring any attention to it by posting this doesn't make any sense to me, okay? You've had all these accusations over DMs. Then you go and you post a DM as your TikTok and talk about it. So either this is what it is. Either, girl, you ain't got no common sense, and I don't believe that, okay? Number 2, okay, you're trying to draw attention to this for some other reason, like somebody's about to expose you, and then you can use this and say, see, I was just talking about it. This is what people do, okay? And I just talked about this and said that people do this all the time. Then I turned around and this is somebody's trying to get revenge on me for doing this, okay? So there's either some other reason about that, which I can't figure out, okay? Or you are so entitled and you are so taking no accountability that you really believe you are so untouchable that to the world, you want to throw up the medium by which you abused other people, okay? Like that to me should show everybody out there that James Charles hasn't changed a bit, okay? That you are literally, okay? You are literally willing to show the world, okay? Bring attention to this, because you knew that if you did this, there was going to be conversations about, there he is in DMs again. Yes, you're a grinder. You're a grown adult. You have every right to be on Grindr. I have no issue with that, okay? But why would you bring attention to this DM, okay? Or this message that you're having back and forth on Grindr? That makes no sense to me. Like, that to me is like, you are so entitled that you don't even see, okay, that this, unless there's a grand plan, okay, unless somebody's about to expose you, then what it means is that you don't think that anything that you ever did was wrong in the past. Therefore, it's like, let me just blast this all over the place. I mean, you already said in your own TikTok that you think that anybody that exposes DMs is a fucking loser, and then you turn around and do it. So anybody that does that to you in the future, you know, anybody that shows that in the future and does that to you, girl, you've already said that they're a fucking loser, but then you did it, okay? So they're no worse than you. You've now allowed all these people to come out with DMs saying that they had conversations with you. You just opened the door to that, James, okay? So don't cry a river the next time somebody comes out with a DM and says this, right? Especially when this one is so speculative that it could be faked. And you're somebody that's come out for years and said that people fake these messages, that there's no truth to them. Girl, how... Is this true? I'm not buying it, okay? I'm just not buying it, right? So, if it, you know, then, anyway, and like I said before, you can make up these fake conversations and stuff, right? And then I go, you know, I went in here in my notes, I'm looking at it, it says, not to mention that you say that you don't like it when people share private information, but do you do it anyway? You know, like I said, don't cry when it happens to you. You've now said that that's okay. You have said, by doing this TikTok, that this is okay behavior, okay? That to expose other people's DMs is okay behavior, right? So he goes on here and he says that he hooked up with him before, but this was what was so interesting to me, right? Like, the only way that you know how to hook up with him or how to contact him is through Grindr. Now, like, I've never been on a dating app in my life, okay? But I have a lot of friends of mine that are on dating apps, gay guys and straight women, okay? And I know a lot of them, right? They hook up with somebody, if they have a real good time, they're like, let's just exchange numbers, right? The only way you have to contact this person is through Grindr. Okay, girl, that maybe should be a sign, first of all, that maybe you had a better time than this person did. I'm just saying, okay? That was weird to me, right? And people will be like, oh, well, James didn't want to give him his number. Well, James will give him everything else. James will give him his booty hole and everything else. You don't want to give him his number? Okay, that's weird to me, right? Okay. And we already know James Charles is giving his number out to other people, right? So that can't be it. So then I'm going on here and I'm looking through these screenshots, right, on here. Or I'm looking through the comments that people have commented underneath here. And people are like laughing. They're like, from mascara to masculine era crying. He likes that one. And somebody said, he really said you're a brother now, not a sister. He likes that one. So, and somebody quoted him and said, did you just call me a man? Laughing. All these people are like eating this up, right? And I'm like, why are we lifting James Charles up? I don't understand this, okay? Like, I'm so confusion over this whole thing, right? But then I'm going through here and I'm looking at it, and Grindr, the official Grindr account on TikTok, because I went and looked, and it is the official account on Grindr, responds to them and responds to the video and says, yes, I'm masked, sis. And James Charles likes it, right? And I'm like, okay, so Grindr, all right, who has had multiple lawsuits, all right, with younger gay guys lying about their age because they have no validation thing on their system in many areas, okay? Where you can fake your age and put your age and all kinds of stuff. So you've got all these young kids that are filing lawsuits, okay, of men that they hooked up with online, okay, through Grindr. Google search it. I did last night. There's multiple cases, okay? Multiple cases. Not to mention that Grindr's information got hacked in the UK, and there was a huge lawsuit about that, a class action lawsuit about Grindr getting their information, all the people's private information, okay, getting hacked. Just like Ashley Madison happened, you know, in 2015. Now there's that huge documentary out. So Grindr got their personal information hacked. Not to mention they have multiple lawsuits, okay, from younger men and parents of younger men suing Grindr, okay, for the fact that these younger men lied about their age, and they're the victims. They're calling them the victims because they lied about their age, and then they met up with these men and they said that they were assaulted, okay? There's multiple lawsuits about it, I've looked. So Grindr is co-signing James Charles in his TikTok who's showing a private Grindr is totally saying, show all your private conversations on Grindr. We think that's funny, okay? And showing this, and furthermore, Grindr has no issue with their multiple lawsuits of young people under the age of 18 that are suing them for things that happened because they lied about their age. James Charles is somebody that's his defense, is that these people lied to me about their age, right? But then he said with an easy check that he could find out their age. James Charles has those allegations, took responsibility for those allegations, apologized to his victims, and Grindr with multiple lawsuits is co-signing James Charles on TikTok. Can somebody make this make sense to me? I am so confused, okay? So Grindr obviously has no issue with this, and I'm not stupid, okay? I know that there are many, many people under the age of 18 that sign up for Grindr and say they're 22 or 25 and things like that, okay? I get it. Another reason why James Charles probably needs to be asking for IDs, and another reason why he probably said man in this TikTok, okay? But what I'm wondering is, why is he doing this? Is he getting ready to do, because it's interesting to me that Grindr, I don't think he tagged Grindr in this, you know, I mean, he may have hashtagged it, but I don't think he tagged it, that Grindr co-signs it. So is he getting ready to do like a sponsorship with Grindr or something? Is this his JoJo Siwa era of showing what a badass he is, and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and now he's having sex and hooking up with people? Girl, okay, I'm bored of it, okay? You were trying to do that 5 years ago. The problem was they just weren't of age. Then you try to do it with a bunch of straight men that didn't want to be gay. They didn't want to be with you, okay? So, to me, the whole thing is so problematic. And like I said, I have no issue with people being on dating apps. I mean, I think almost every person that I know that's single is on a dating app, okay? And I'm sure y'all know probably a lot of people that are on Ashley Madison, too, because, you know, their slogan is life is short, have an affair. I don't agree with that slogan, but that's what they say, right? So here you have Grindr that has all these lawsuits, obviously knowing who James Charles is. It's the #1 comment on his video, right? Knowing who James Charles is, and they go in there and comment on it, not just heart it, they comment on it, okay? James Charles, who has allegations of speaking to minors, Grindr has allegations and lawsuits of minors being hurt by lying about their age on Grindr and hooking up with adult men that assaulted them. Go look them up. There's a lot of lawsuits about this, okay? And Grindr's co-signing somebody that's been accused of this and actually taking responsibility for that. That's Grindr's stance on it. Woo! This is messy. This is messy. And to James Charles, it's just a funny DM about somebody calling him masculine. Okay, girl. Okay, we'll believe it, girl. We'll believe it. Okay. This is where James Charles shows something. And I don't think he really realizes that after all of that and the problematic stuff of it, okay, the joke is not the fact that he said he wanted to be with somebody that was more feminine than you, okay, which, I don't know what that means, but apparently he wants to be with somebody more feminine than James Charles, okay, or that's what James Charles is wanting us to believe. But that's not the funny part of it, girl, okay? The funny part of it is that you hit him up at 10 o'clock, he didn't reach out to you till 7:52 the next day, girl, okay? The question you might be asking him is, how many other people did you hit up to hook up with before you came back to me? Because that's literally the true definition of desperation. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.